Major energy importing economies, especially across Asia, are feeling the heat from a renewed global fuel shock. As crude prices rise, the ripple effects are now showing up in inflation, fiscal stress, and real-world economic disruptions. In Pakistan, the strain is already visible on the ground after announcing back-to-back fuel price hikes. The government was forced into a partial rollback following public backlash. Petrol and diesel prices had surged sharply, feeding into inflation that remains above 20%. Now, the economic squeeze is translating into unusual austerity measures, and this includes major domestic sporting events being conducted without crowds to cut costs. And at the same time, Islamabad is once again looking outward, seeking external funding, support from the IMF and allied nations to stabilize its finances. The situation is similarly tense in Bangladesh, where the fuel shock is colliding with an ongoing dollar crunch. Now, the country, heavily dependent on imported LNG and oil, is facing mounting pressure on its foreign exchange reserves. The impact is being felt through frequent power outages and energy rationing, particularly affecting export-oriented industries like garments. Dhaka has responded by raising energy tariffs, cutting back on subsidies, and seeking multilateral financial support, even as it tries to renegotiate costly energy import contracts. Meanwhile, in Sri Lanka, rising fuel costs are threatening to derail a fragile recovery. The government continues to stick to IMF-backed reforms, keeping subsidies in check, but that is pushing up transport and electricity costs for consumers. Now, in the Philippines, pump prices have resumed their upward climb after weeks of increases, raising fresh concerns about inflation. The government has rolled out targeted subsidies for the transport sector, but higher logistics costs are already feeding into food prices. Meanwhile, Thailand is grappling with the fiscal burden of shielding consumers. Authorities have been forced to extend diesel subsidies, stretching the country's oil fund and complicating budget management. Now, the pattern across these economies is strikingly similar. Countries that rely heavily on imported energy are being hit by a triple shock: rising fuel costs, weakening currencies, and widening fiscal deficits. The governments are walking a tightrope. Passing on higher prices risks social unrest, while absorbing the shock through subsidies threatens already strained budgets. Experts suggest energy flow will remain disrupted even if the war is resolved today or tomorrow.
Because of the supply chain disruptions, there is a lag in terms of how quickly things can really get back into gear and into more of a normal setting, which is why we believe that if the conflict were to end today or tomorrow, we would really be looking at a sort of a 2-month window for a gradual improvement of flows, thereby realistically looking at the start of the second half of the year to on a more normal world again in terms of energy flows.